Hi everyone, and welcome to my next video tutorial, which is going to be focused on upgrading our Django version and also upgrading all of the associated packages within our Django projects as well. So before we get started and go straight into that, I just wanted to go through a bit of the documentation in terms of Django versions and all of that information on the Django website. So as we can see here, the latest Django version that is out is Django 5.0.2 to be exact. And as you can see here, I'm on the web page which specifies the 5.0.2 release notes. So for each new release in terms of Django, if there's a fix or if there's an update, you're going to be able to look through the release notes. So in this case here, we can see that the updates here were pertaining to various bug fixes which needed to be updated in Django. Now, if you scroll down, of course, you can go back to the previous version release notes. So here we have Django 5.0.1 release notes, and you can see here what were the latest bug fixes or updates in that particular Django version, and you can keep on going down. So if you scroll down, you can go to the right, which is going to take you back with Django versions, and if you go to the left, it's going to take you to the newest version. So if I go back to Django 5.02, and I were to scroll down, it's going to show Django 5.0.3. Now, Django 5.0.3 hasn't been released yet, but it's going to, of course, show what is going to be expected to be included in the next update, such as the bug fixes or whatever is going to change, and we can see an expected date. So I just wanted to give you a little bit more information in terms of that. I feel that's very important for you to know if you are upgrading your Django version. Maybe not for these very small minor changes, it won't make a difference, but especially if we're moving from, for example, Django 3 to Django 4 to Django 5. So just some emphasis for you there. Okay, now another thing that I also want to go through is the Django timeline in terms of mainstream support and extended support and LTS long-term support. So as you can see here on this graph here of sorts, or this timeline should I rather say, we can see the dates of support here for various Django versions in terms of the following parameters. So of course, as we can see here, we are currently here on Django 5, and we can expect long-term support for LTS when we have Django 5.2. And we can of course see we have mainstream support for all of these versions. And of course we can see how long extended support is going to be available for each of these versions. Okay, so just a little bit more emphasis here in terms of support and Django versions and all of that information. Now, of course, like I said, I will be sure to include this web page also in the description below. All right, so I think we've got that all set up and ready to go. So let's get started. Now, of course, I have a simple application, so very easy, just a simple application with a registration and login functionality. Now, I also have a lot of other packages in my project as well, behind the scenes, such as Crispy Forms, Amazon S3, Boto 3 packages, and dependencies. So I have a lot of things that are in my project. So let's ensure that the first thing that we do is we have opened up a Django project. So all you need to do is open up a Django project that you want to use, essentially one that you want to upgrade in terms of your packages and dependencies. So I have my virtual environment folder here, of course, within my Django project. And if I head on over to my terminal, as you can see, I'm within my virtual environment. Now, of course, I'm assuming that you have some knowledge of virtual environments. So what you're going to have to do, first of all, is make sure that you're within your virtual environment. And I want you to type pip list. Okay, so go ahead and type in the following command, and that's going to list all of the packages that you are utilizing within your current project. So as you can see here, I have quite an array of packages and dependencies that I'm utilizing in my Django project, and I can also see the version of those various packages that I have here, including the Django version. So like I just showed you, the latest one that is available is 5.0.2. Now, I would recommend you just remember that because I'm going to also upgrade the Django version, as I've said. So as you can see here, this is the list of my current packages and their versions. Now, you're probably wondering, okay, so I want to now know what packages need to be updated. So if you are in your terminal, if you're on Mac OS, you'll say clear. If you are on Windows like me in the CMD, you'll just say CLS. That's just to clear the terminal. So if you want to check which packages need to be updated, you can just say pip list -o, and that's going to ensure that it lists out all of the packages within our project that are outdated. In other words, those where there is a newer package version, so a later version or the latest version available. Now, as you can notice here, I only have a few packages. I don't have that huge list I had before. And the reason for that is not all packages that you have is going to be outdated just yet. Sometimes you have a newer package already, and that's not going to show up here. So if I can give you an example. For example here, I'm just going to clear this up, and I'm going to say pip list again. So I think this is an important concept for you to understand before we continue. So here, for example, I have psychopg2 binary because I'm utilizing a Postgres database. So you can see here I'm on version 2.9.9. Now if I were to run pip list -o, so -o means outdated, by the way, just to give you emphasis on that prefix. Okay, let's just run this. You'll notice that I won't have psychopg2 binary here. You can see it's not here because I'm currently using the latest version. So -o, like I said, is going to list all the outdated versions. In other words, the packages in your project that have an update which you can go ahead and update or upgrade, if that makes sense. So there is a latest version available. That's what that means. And as you can see here, I have quite a few packages here that could be updated with the latest version. So we're going to follow a few steps here to ensure that we make this as smooth and as easy as possible. So the first thing that I want us to do is to create a requirements.txt file so we can see this a little bit more clear. So ensure you're in your virtual environment and you want to just say pip freeze greater than requirements.txt. There we go. So if we head on over to Visual Studio Code, we can now see we have a requirements.txt file, and this is going to house all of our packages and all of our dependencies that we currently have within our project. Right. So let's continue. So what we can do is open up the requirements.txt file. And as we can see here, we have all of the packages that are by default installed within our current project. So just keep in mind this Django version just for clarity. So we will upgrade also to 5.0.2 as well as all of the other packages here, the versions will also be updated. So what I want us to do is the following. So for the time being, I want us to rename this requirements.txt file. So I'm going to right click, say rename, and I'm just going to say _old. So we're now going to say, okay, this is my old requirements.txt file. So if you ever want to roll back and you want to go to your older package versions, you can do so. So what I want us to do now is to just say pip freeze greater than requirements.txt. I want to run that command again. And it's going to generate another requirements.txt file. And you're probably wondering, okay, isn't this a duplicate of the old one? And the answer is yes. Now, the reason why we need another requirements.txt file is because this is going to be our main one. Our new requirements.txt file with all of the latest package versions and all of that. So that is the reason as to why we would need this. Great. Now, the next thing that we need to do is we need to go ahead and ensure that we install the pip upgrader package, and this is automatically going to update the version in all the package versions in our requirements.txt file. And keep in mind here it says specifically requirements.txt, which is going to be based in this particular file here. Okay, so that is what we need to ensure that we go ahead and set up accordingly. So what you need to do is you now need to go ahead and install this particular package. Now, one thing I do want to mention is how it actually operates is if we say pip list -o, which means outdated. So we want to list all the outdated packages here. So it'll just take a moment to list them all again. And I'm just going to explicitly explain as to why we need to do this. So as you can see, these are the packages that have a newer version or a later version here that is available. Now this package here, pip upgrader, is going to automatically update all of these packages to the latest version that we have designated here accordingly. All right. So what we can do is go ahead and set it up. So we can just go ahead and install this package. I'm going to say pip install pip upgrader, so you can install that in your virtual environment. So go ahead and do so. Okay, there we go. So I already have that set up and installed. Great. Now all we can do is we can go ahead and set up the following command. We can instantiate it by saying pip -upgrade. Okay, so we can see here it's found a requirements.txt file, which of course is set, and it can see which ones are up to date and which ones have an update or upgrade available, as you can see accordingly here, and it can see all the packages that I have here that are available. So if we correlate that to our requirements.txt file with those that are available, we can see we have, of course, 14 packages which can be upgraded. We can see their current versions, the latest versions, and we can also see the release date. So for example here, I have Django, so I can see it's 5.0.1 and the latest is 5.0.2. For example, I have Unicorn, so it is 20.1.0, the latest is 21.2.0. And as I can see here in my requirements.txt file, it's picking that up. So for example, we can see Django is on the older version. We can see Unicorn is on 20.1.0. What else do we have? We have Pillow on 10.1.0. So Pillow at 10.1.0, and we can also see, for example, Boto 3 is on 1.25.5, Boto 3, 1.25.5, and these are the latest versions we can upgrade it to. So as you can see here, you can choose which packages you want to upgrade. So the choices are all Q for quit, X for exit, or 1, 2, 3, etc. So if you want to update or upgrade only a specific package, you can go ahead and just select that particular number. So I want us to update all the packages here to the latest version. So here under choice, I'm just going to type all and select and hit enter. And that's going to go ahead and update all of the packages for me automatically, easily, just like that. Don't need to do anything. And you can watch this wonderful automation work for itself. So here you don't need to add in any custom code. You don't need to add in anything special or specific. It's going to automatically upgrade all of your packages for you. So that is something that will be set into place. So you can see it will uninstall that package, install the latest version, and go on from there. There are sometimes cases where some of the packages have an issue, or you'll need to manually upgrade. That does happen from time to time, so just keep that in mind, very important. For some packages, you may need to manually upgrade it, but for the majority, as you can see in this case here, it's going to upgrade everything smoothly without a hassle or issue. So all we need to do now is we just need to be patient. So I'm going to pause the video, wait for this process to be completed, and then we can continue with the rest of the analysis in this video tutorial. All right, so welcome back. So as you can see here, there were a few struggles in the process, but everything at the end was installed, and we can see everything was upgraded. Now, if you want to confirm this, we can just clear this up. Say pip list -o. So let's see what is outdated. So we should only have pip here, so that is the pip version that we have. Other than that, all of our packages should be updated. All right, so we can see here that we just have pip and setup tools. So like I said, there may be some packages that do need to be explicitly upgraded. So in our case, we still have pip and we have setup tools. So that is the final thing we can upgrade. But before we get to that, I just want to show you that all of those other packages here have now been upgraded. So if I go into my requirements.txt file, I can see it's automatically updated all of the latest versions. And if you want to compare this just to make sure, you can revert to that older version just for analysis. And we can see here, if we look here, 3.7.2, 125.5, 128.5. And we can see here that is completely different. 3.7.2, 134.45, 134.45, and Django 5.0.2. So we can see we've got that upgrade all set up and into place, and that is all that we need to ensure that we set up. Now, of course, we still have two packages here. So like I said, there are packages in some case that you need to manually go ahead and update, as you can see here. So that is something that you can do. So let's go ahead and just make those final touches, and then we can go from there. All right. So what I'm going to do is first update setup tools. So I'm just going to say pip, and then I'm going to say install -u for update upgrade. I'm going to say setup tools. Let's go ahead and upgrade that. Okay. And then what we can do, we can see that's been updated. So if we were to just say pip list -o, we should only have pip left, and that will be the last thing that we need to upgrade. There we go. So we only have pip now. So that's the last thing that we have. So we can go ahead and of course update it here with the following command. So we can just say python exe -m pip install -- upgrade pip. Okay, and that's going to upgrade pip for us as well. And then you'll have everything clean and tidy here in your Django project with everything else upgraded as it should be. So just keep that in mind. There are some things that may get left behind that you just need to ensure that you upgrade and set up yourself as you go through the motions. Okay, so we just want to run this. This is a very useful command. So let's just wait for the table to show. So we should have nothing remaining. And then there we go. All right, perfect. So it's always good to just run your project afterwards just to make sure nothing, there's no errors or anything. So we can run it fine. Just refresh. Okay. Okay, there we go. So do keep in mind here, depending on the packages you updated, some of the documentation may have also been upgraded. So you do sometimes need to do restructuring to your code as well. So make sure you keep that in mind. You also need to make sure that you do your own due diligence and that you update your code as well with the documentation. This is just going to upgrade the package versions. There may be a few things that you're going to have to update itself. So there may have been a huge update that requires you to add specific apps to your list of installed apps, or let's say there was a syntax change in terms of a tag or a filter that you set in your templates or something. That is something you're going to have to look for yourself, unfortunately. But this is a very good way to ensure that you can smoothly update your packages and your Django version specifically. All right, guys, so that's it for this video tutorial. That's how you can upgrade your Django version and all of the associated packages within your Django project. So that's it. And as always, thank you for the support, and I'll see you next time. See you.